Students, in the last lecture we have discussed that when a metallic surface is irradiated, if the energy gained by the electron on the metal surface has greater energy than that of work function, it can be knocked out from the metal surface. As a result, electron emission takes place. The same experiment is conducted by Leonard, and we will be now learning about the experimental arrangement and the experimental conclusions which are provided by Leonard. Now, the experimental arrangement of Leonard is as shown in the figure. There is one metallic electrode here which is called cathode, connected to negative terminal of the battery, and the other plate it is anode, connected to positive of the battery. And there is some arrangement here such that light can incidented on metal surface. On this cathode metal, light can be incidented such that if the energy is greater than work function, electron can be knocked out. Those electrons are pulled by anode, which is positively charged. As the electrons which are coming out, they have negative charge. That's the reason why they are dragged towards the anode. So ultraviolet light causes the metal cathode to emit electrons. This is called photoelectric effect. So when photons of particular energy is incidented on cathode, electrons will be ejected out. Usually it happens for ultraviolet light, hence it is said to be photoelectric effect. And the photoelectrons form a current between the cathode and the anode. See here, as electrons are moving from cathode to anode, rate of electric charge flow results some current, and that current is due to these photoelectrons. Hence we say it as photocurrent I. And that photocurrent which is passing in between anode to cathode can be recorded by this ammeter. The current can be measured, while the potential difference, the light frequency and the light intensity are varied. So you can measure current for different variations. You can maintain constant potential difference, frequency constant, and you can change the intensity. You can maintain intensity constant and the other two parameters changed. You can maintain frequency constant and other two parameters can be changed corresponding to the variation. You can find out how much amount of current is passing through this ammeter. Now the potential difference can be changed or potential difference can be reversed. So this potential difference which you are now connecting, it can be either reversed or it can be either changed. It can be variable. This is the experimental arrangement conducted by Leonard, and from the experiment he have concluded that the current I is proportional to light intensity. That's point number one you need to remember. The current, the photocurrent which is coming over here is directly proportional to light intensity. More is the intensity of light, more number of photoelectrons come out. Therefore, the current observed in the circuit is directly proportional to light intensity. That's number one. Number two is that current appears without delay. Immediately when you are providing potential difference, at the same instance current comes in the circuit. So there is no delay in the current. Current is immediately appeared when you are providing a potential difference. That's number two. Number three, photoelectrons are emitted only if light frequency exceeds threshold frequency. Remember that frequency of light which is incidented should be greater than nu naught called threshold frequency. Threshold frequency. Threshold frequency is that frequency for which at particular frequency electrons are able to be ejected from the metallic surface. That frequency is said to be threshold frequency. Not all frequency it happens. Only particular frequency. If the light frequency is greater than particular value, then only photoelectrons can be ejected from the metal surface. And that frequency at which photocurrent starts in the circuit is said to be, it is said to be threshold frequency. And the value of threshold frequency depends on type of the metal. For different metals, you will have different threshold frequency. It depends on nature of the metal. That's number 4. Number 5, the potential difference is positive. Current is independent of the potential. So when you are providing some potential difference here, and if it is positive potential difference, the photocurrent is not dependent upon positive potential. That's number 5. If the potential is sufficiently negative, no current is observed independent of light intensity. So for positive potential difference, there is no dependence of photocurrent in the circuit. But for negative potential difference, if you are providing negative potential difference, at some particular negative value, there is no current observed in the circuit. And that potential for which there is no current observed in the circuit is said to be stopping potential. It is stopping potential. That's number 5. And the number 6, it is stopping potential is independent of intensity of the light. Stopping potential does not depend upon intensity of the light radiations. So these are the 6 observations which Leonard have observed. Number 1, it is that current is directly proportional to intensity of the light. Current appears without delay. Photoelectrons are emitted only if the frequency is greater than threshold frequency, and the value of threshold frequency is dependent upon nature of the material. Potential difference is positive, there is independent of current is independent of potential, but for certain negative potential no current is observed which is independent of light intensity. Any intensity you can give, but at certain negative potential there is no current passing in the circuit. That is called stopping potential. And stopping potential is independent of the intensity of the light radiations. So these all are 6 observations which are observed from Leonard's experiment. Experimental study of photoelectric effect. So in order to practically conduct photoelectric effect experiment, we need to have huge battery whose potential like this should provide some potential difference. It is battery of certain voltage V, and this should be variable battery. You can increase whenever you want, you can increase the voltage. Whenever you want, you can decrease the voltage. This potential difference is variable. You are taking a battery and there is one ammeter and there is one voltmeter connected over here, and here this is an ammeter, this is ammeter, and this is voltmeter. Voltmeter should be connected in parallel and ammeter should be connected in series with the circuit, and one end of these two are metallic plates. One is cathode and the other one is anode. Cathode is connected to negative terminal of the battery. Anode is connected to positive terminal of the battery. This become positively charged. This become negatively charged. And this is evacuated chamber. This is evacuated chamber. Now a light of certain intensity, a light of certain intensity is incidented on the metal plate. This particular light have, let me consider it have some intensity I and its frequency is nu. Now when light of certain intensity and having certain frequency nu is incidented on the cathode plate, electron is able to be ejected from the cathode and that electron is pulled towards the anode because anode is positively charged. As anode is positively charged, electron when it comes out, definitely it has some kinetic energy. Apart of that kinetic energy, as the anode is positively charged terminal, it pulls the electrons which are negatively charged. As a result, the electrons which are ejected from the cathode metal surface, they are readily dragged or pulled towards this anode, which results in current in the circuit. And that current which is produced in this circuit is said to be photocurrent. So the current which is produced in this experiment, it is said to be photocurrent. Photocurrent is because of incidenting of photons on the metal surface. If you are not incidenting light on the metal face, then there is no current observed in the circuit. How much potential difference you are able to apply there. So as much as greater potential you can apply over here between anode and cathode, it will not provide any current in the circuit. The ejection of electrons only depends on intensity and frequency of the photons incidented over there. It's not dependent upon battery potential. That is the reason why the current emitted in this circuit is said to be photocurrent. You can see that clearly in this picture. See, this is light incidented over here. It is cathode and this is anode. Cathode is connected to negative terminal of the battery. Anode is connected to positive terminal of the battery. The light which is being incidented over here, it have some intensity. I is equal to Hc by lambda, or I is equal to H nu, where nu is frequency of the incident radiation. This cathode will have some work function. This cathode will have some work function, and that work function I am considering it as W. If the energy of photon is greater than work function, if it is greater than work function can be written as H into nu naught, where nu naught is called threshold frequency. It is called threshold frequency. Threshold frequency multiplied with constant H gives you work function. And if the energy of incident photon is greater than work function, the electron is able to be ejected out. And this electron ejected out will have some kinetic energy. If this kinetic energy is sufficient to come towards the anode, even though there is less potential difference supplied over here, electrons are able to be reaching this anode. If the kinetic energy of the electrons which are ejected is very less, in such case, you need to apply some greater potential difference in between cathode and anode. As a result, electron can be pulled towards the anode. So photocurrent depends on how many number of electrons are ejected from the metal phase. More number of electrons are ejected, more is the current in the circuit. Less number of electrons ejected from the cathode, then less will be the photocurrent in the circuit. And the number of electrons which are coming out from this metal surface, it depends upon intensity of the incident radiations. So photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. More is the intensity of the light, more will be the number of photons emitted. More number of photons are emitted, more will be the photocurrent observed in the circuit. This is how experimental arrangement can be made to conduct photoelectric effect. Yeah, students, now let us see the effect of each parameter one by one. Effect of each parameter we will discuss. What happens to photocurrent with intensity of the light, with frequency of the light, with voltage supply. So those all parameters we will be discussing one by one. As a first one, we are going to learn about effect of intensity of light on photocurrent. And you are able to see in this graph your plotted photocurrent I on y-axis, intensity of light on x-axis. We know intensity of light is equal to energy by unit area into time taken, or you can write power divided by area of cross section, or energy can be written as N h nu divided by area of cross section of the metal face into time taken t. This is equation for intensity of the light. Intensity is the total amount of energy incidented on the surface whose area of cross section is A in time t second. Energy by time, however, can be written as power. Area of cross section is in the denominator as it is. So power by area can also be defined as intensity of the light. Unit of intensity of light is, energy unit is joule, area is meter square, time is a second. This is can be written as watt per meter square is the unit of intensity of light in SI system. As N represents, N is number of photons incident, on metal face, right? You can understand that more number of photons are incidented on the metal face. If this is metal face, one photon incidented over here, it will eject one electron. Another photon incidented on this number 2, it will eject one electron. Another photon incidented on this metal plate, which is number 3, will eject one electron. Therefore, clearly you can understand number of photons is directly proportional to number of electrons. Number of photons and number of electrons, they are proportional to each other. More number of photons are incidented on the metal face, more number of electrons can be ejected out. Therefore, as you are increasing intensity of light, the photocurrent is also increasing. Increasing the intensity of light, photocurrent is increased. Increased the intensity of light, photocurrent is increased. Increased the intensity of light, photocurrent is also increasing. Slope is constant. Whenever slope is constant, it means that it is directly proportional. Therefore, the photocurrent emitted in photoelectric effect circuit is directly proportional to intensity of incident radiations. As you increase intensity, photocurrent increases. As you decrease intensity, photocurrent decreases. Yeah. Students, now let us learn what is the effect of potential difference on photoelectric current. We are providing some potential difference V. What is the effect of this potential difference with respect to current in the circuit? The photocurrent in the circuit depends on how many number of electrons are coming out. More are the number of electrons, more will be the current in the circuit, right? So remember that photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity. Photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity. Therefore, remember, for fixed intensity, photocurrent is fixed. It means that is constant. You are providing some intensity I1. You are providing some intensity I1. Let me consider this is intensity I1. For certain intensity I1, there are some number of electrons ejected, and those electrons are able to receive towards this anode. Okay. Obviously, corresponding to this intensity I, there will be some amount of current absorbed, and that current I consider it as small I1. Now, when the electrons are ejected from the cathode plate, if those electrons which are sufficiently having kinetic energy to reach the anode, they will directly reach even though potential difference is zero. See here, even though potential difference is equal to zero, you are able to see some current I1. Okay, so remember that even applied voltage is zero, even though applied voltage is zero, photocurrent is non-zero. Why it is non-zero? Photocurrent is not depending upon the voltage. It is depending upon the incidented intensity. You are providing some intensity I1. Therefore, definitely there will be some current small I1 coming in the circuit. And only the thing here is, if you are providing some potential difference, when the electron coming out from the cathode, it will have some kinetic energy, right? If kinetic energy of the electrons is greater, kinetic energy of electrons ejected is greater, they reach anode plate. Anode plate, even if potential difference is equal to zero. But when the kinetic energy of the electrons which are ejected, if their kinetic energy is very less, they cannot reach the anode because they do not have sufficient energy to reach the anode. They will come to rest position in middle of the anode plate. Like they come in between cathode and anode, they will come to middle and they will come to rest position because their kinetic energy is zero. In order to pull that electron towards the anode, in order to pull those electrons which are just coming towards the anode with less kinetic energy, you need to provide some potential difference to anode with positive terminal. Therefore, if you are providing some voltage to anode plate, those residue electrons which are remained in between cathode and anode, they are being pulled by the anode. As a result, photocurrent slightly increases in the circuit. So this slight increase is due to application of potential difference to pull electrons towards anode. Okay, so here we are providing potential difference only to pull the electrons, not to eject the electrons. Ejection of electrons is not depending upon the applied potential. Only to pull those electrons which are already ejected, we are providing that potential difference. That's the reason why here photocurrent is just only slightly increased with this applied voltage, and after that it is maintained constant. Same thing happens if you are increasing the intensity to I2, the photocurrent is increased to I2. And if you are increasing the intensity to I3, photocurrent is increasing to I3. I3 greater than I2 greater than I1, because I3 is corresponds to I3, I2, I1. So it is depending only on intensity. Even if the collector plate potential is increased, there is no change in the photocurrent. It approximately remains the same. Right? Now what I do, I'll just reverse these terminals. I will reverse these terminals now. I'll just take negative here and I'll take positive here. If I take positive and negative here, what actually happens is the electrons which are coming over here, in which direction field will be there? Field will be in this direction. Electric field will be provided from positive to negative. Therefore, electrons are forced to move in opposite direction. These electrons are forced to move in opposite direction. Therefore, the total kinetic energy gained by the electrons, because when it is being ejected out, they have some kinetic energy. Slowly, if you are increasing the negative potential, the electrons which are coming towards the anode, they are forcefully moved, or they are forced to move in opposite direction because of the negative potential over there. That is the reason why electrons, even though they are coming towards anode, you are supplying negative potential. That's the reason why a force is acting on that electron to move in opposite direction. As a result, these all electrons which are coming towards the anode, they are forced to move in opposite direction. Therefore, gradually, photocurrent is not received, electrons are not received by the anode. As a result, the photocurrent gradually decreases, and at certain negative potential, the net current in between cathode and anode will become zero, because all the electrons which are coming out, which are being ejected from the cathode, we have sufficient potential, negative potential, such that that potential difference is sufficient for electrons to block them. Therefore, as you are increasing negative voltage, what is happening? Photocurrent is decreasing, photocurrent is decreasing, photocurrent is decreasing. For any intensity, the photocurrent gradually decreases, and finally, at one negative potential, it is becoming zero, right? And this potential, where the net photocurrent in the circuit tends to zero, is said to be stopping potential. That potential is called stopping potential, right? And stopping potential, stopping potential, it is denoted with V naught, and E into V naught is equal to work done in stopping electrons. Work done in stopping electrons. And this work done is equal to change in kinetic energy of electrons. So with how much kinetic energy an electron is coming, with how much kinetic energy electron come, with that much the equal amount of work is being done by the potential difference to stop it. Therefore, work done is equal to stopping potential is equal to kinetic energy of ejected electrons. Okay, therefore, I can now write E into V naught is equal to half m v square, where V naught is equal to potential difference, V is equal to velocity of electrons, m is equal to mass of electrons. So clearly you can understand that work done is equal to work done to stop the electron is equal to its kinetic energy lost. That is the effect of potential on photoelectric current. Positive potential does not vary current in the circuit. Only negative potential will stop the electrons such that they could not reach the anode. That's the reason why at sufficient negative potential, all electrons are blocked to not come towards the anode. Therefore, photocurrent tends to become zero. So work done is equal to change in kinetic energy of the electron. We can use work energy theorem here. So that's what I am using this relation. EV naught is equal to half mv square. And now let us learn what is the effect of frequency of incident radiation with stopping potential. So we already have seen that stopping potential is independent of intensity of radiation. Stopping potential is independent of intensity. As you are increasing the intensity, stopping potential is not changing. It is coming at one particular point. V naught is remained constant that we have seen in the previous graph. And then on what factors stopping potential depends. So we know that E V naught is equal to half m v square. If kinetic energy of electrons is changed, V naught will be changed. If you are changing stopping potential, if you want to change stopping potential, you need to change kinetic energy of the electrons. The kinetic energy of the electrons can be changed by incident radiation frequency. So as frequency of incident radiation as frequency of incident radiations is changed, kinetic energy of ejected electrons can be changed. Therefore, in order to change stopping potential, we will be changing kinetic energy of the electrons. In order to change kinetic energy of the electrons, we will be changing the frequency of incident radiation. Right? Now, we are taking potential on x-axis and photocurrent on y-axis, and we are providing different frequency radiations. Now, whatever the frequency you are providing, once the electron is being ejected out for positive potential, that electron will be definitely pulled towards the anode. Therefore, photocurrent is not variable with respect to frequency. Therefore, remember that photocurrent I is independent of frequency of radiation. This is very important point. Photocurrent does not depend on frequency of incident radiation. Then if you are increasing frequency, what would happen? As you are increasing frequency, the kinetic energy of electrons ejected will be increased. As kinetic energy of the electrons which are ejected increases, in order to stop that electron, you need to provide more negative potential. Therefore, for frequency nu1, we are getting stopping potential minus V01. For frequency V2, if you are increasing the frequency of photons, in order to stop the ejected electron, you need to increase the negative potential. For that, you are providing minus V02. Still, as you are increasing the frequency of incident radiation, you need to provide more negative potential to stop those electrons because their kinetic energy increases. Therefore, frequency nu3 greater than frequency nu2 greater than nu1. As a result, the negative potential which is supplied over here also goes on increases. So stopping potential increases with frequency of incident light. So as the frequency of incident light increases, stopping potential increases. That's very important thing you should remember. And let us plot one more graph for stopping potential versus frequency of the incident radiation. As you are increasing frequency of incident radiation, as I told you, stopping potential is variable. Therefore, you are increasing frequency. As a result, stopping potential is increased. You are increasing frequency, your stopping potential is being increased. Therefore, for different metals, you will be getting different slopes. Metal A and metal B, their slope is different. That depends upon their work function. So, frequency like nu naught, for nu naught and for nu naught dash, it has been different work functions. Therefore, for frequency, threshold frequency of metal A is nu naught. Threshold frequency of metal B is nu naught dash, because work function of metal A is different than that of work function for metal B. Work function of metal A is less than work function of metal B. As a result, threshold frequency of metal A is less than threshold frequency of metal B. So as you are increasing frequency, stopping potential increases. This is one more important observation observed from experimental study of photoelectric effect.